Over the last 100 years, we've seen a steady reduction in the amount of people living in rural areas throughout North America. This can generally be attributed to improvements in farming machinery that allowed less workers to do the same amount of labor, and global supply chains being developed to the point where it is cheaper to produce goods in another country and ship them across the ocean than actually produce them in the country where they are going to be used, resulting in less jobs for those communities.
There's not many of us left.
Small-town economies today are incredibly undiversified, only being composed of one or two main industries that employ the vast majority of the people living in those towns. This heavy reliance on a single industry puts a town in a pretty precarious situation. Looking at these old gold and silver rush cities, we tend to distance ourselves and believe that couldn't happen today. But as long as these small town economies remain isolated from the larger city economies, we will continue to see them go through these boom and bust cycles, dependent on the price of the main commodity that they extract or service they provide. The solution to this is multifaceted, but it centers around using small towns as nodes, creating quick, cheap transportation highways that allow workers the additional option to work in a city as opposed to only within their small geographical location where there may or may not be enough jobs for everyone. That way, if a large employer suddenly goes out of business, we can distribute the burden of unemployment over a much larger area or fill jobs in another region that is desperate for workers.
Can I ask you, are you currently hiring?
I'm hiring an accountant.
Based on what type of transportation exists today, bullet trains are the most likely solution to this problem. The fastest clocking in at around 600 kilometers an hour. Based on US Census data, it seems the longest average commute people are willing to do in their day-to-day working life is 27 minutes each way. If it takes somebody about 8 minutes to get from their home to one of these train stations, and then another 8 minutes to get from the station to their place of work, then a 10 to 15 minute train ride is not unreasonable. From its center, that would give a major city approximately 100 to 150 kilometers of area where workers can potentially come from. It also allows a much lower friction form of tourism from cities out towards rural areas. The cost of this infrastructure would be incredible, about $20 to $40 million per kilometer. But without it, the US might fall behind